So I got a little ahead of myself because we moved and I didn't have my setup done all the way. So now that I've got all set up, back making videos, but I did some work while we were off. I cut all these teeth out and I used it's just a regular drill bit in my Dremel. Just put it right in there. I've got a different bit in there now. And then just drill in here. And you can cut it out in here just as much as you need to, and then smooth it out with files. So then I would just go and file out everything. With these, I just picked these up at the local Harbor Freight Tools. And these are the 4 that I found most useful. It was like a 12-pack. And I just sanded all of those teeth out, and then I went and made a mesh to go behind it. So for the mesh, I started with this, which I just had laying around my garage from another project that I did. And I took this and I stripped some wire. So I took this wire, it's like this. I took this wire, stripped the sheathing off of it, and got a whole bunch of these just individual strands of wire. I took photos of all of this stuff since I didn't have the camera, the tripod, or anything set up yet. And I'll add those in. And you'll see, and then I just wove those into that original one that I showed you. So this is just an offcut of this that I wove the wires in. So you can see they're thicker. I made a little notch for the center. And they're all lined up over the teeth. And then if you can see where I wove the extra wire to make it a little bit thicker and stuff. And I didn't do any of that on camera. That took me a while. I individually wove it up in there. And then I painted the whole thing with my spray paint. So I took the primer, which is what the helmet is primed into, and I primed that, and then I painted that with my flat black that I have. It's on the shelf behind me. I don't want to walk around the camera. And painted it black. And that's how I got that. And then this will just, when I'm all done with the helmet ready to put it in, this is just going to go right in here. So that'll cover up those, and then when you flip it around, you'll have your teeth in there. Get it? Also, as you can tell from my helmet, off camera, I Bondoed it. Number 2 Bondo glaze putty. And then I just used an old card. I just used an old iTunes gift card, any credit card you can use. And then I would just use that to spread it on here, get it all nice and thin, get it in all the holes. You can see where the seam was and stuff. And then some other pits and defects where it stayed. Right? And I did that all the way around. You can see. And stuff. And then I would sand it off, sand the Bondo off with this. This is a 120 grit 3M sanding sponge. And you can see the Bondo still stuck in it and stuff. And I would use that to rough up the Bondo, get it smooth. Okay, so now we have the 3M 220 sanding sponge, which I would then go over and smooth out. After I roughed it up with the 120, I'd just go over and smooth out. It's all glass smooth, you guys can't feel it. And so if there's a few spots that I missed, then I'm going to re-sand today to go over to get it really smooth before I paint it. And if you notice too, this side, I still have the ridges. The decorative ridges that come on the helmet, but because I'm making an ARC Trooper, they have the rangefinder. So on this side, I had to take this part of the Dremel, took my Dremel sanding disc, and I sanded those off. I got a majority of those sanded off with that, and then I would go through, and I have an even rougher sponge. This is an 80 grit sanding sponge that takes off a fair amount of material at a time. You can see it's still got some of the white in there from the white plastic that the helmet is from when I sanded those off, and then I would just gradually get it smoother and smoother, going down from the 80 to the 120 to the 220 and stuff, until where now you can't even tell where they were. All right, so it's completely smooth and stuff. And then I'm going to drill a hole in there so I can mount up the rangefinder on there, which I have, and I'll show you guys that here in a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do next, is drill that hole in there, finish sanding this up, and I'll check the back too, make sure this is all smooth. There's a couple little rough spots on it. There's a little paint drip right there. And then I'll just smooth all these up and get them ready to paint. Hopefully I'll be able to paint it tomorrow. Alright, so here are the photos that I promised you earlier in the video of me just stripping the wire and then weaving it in the mesh. As you can see, I just put it over where the cutouts are for the teeth. So just be sure to watch some of the other videos, click subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thanks a lot.